What happens if you leave a wound unattended, like you don't clean it, check on it, or change the dressing? It will fester and likely get infected, right? Well, the mental money wounds that swirl in your mind and your nervous system have likely gone untreated for years, perhaps decades or your entire life, and they rarely heal on their own. In fact, I've not worked with one single client in my entire career of over 150,000 people worldwide that didn't have a severely untreated money wound that was festering below the surface, that was impacting every area of their life, where they're left sitting there going, I don't know what's going on. I seem to take 3 steps forward, 5 steps back. Every time I get ahead, this happens. I work so hard and I work harder than anyone I know. And I'm doing all of the things and I know I have what it takes, but I can't seem to make any more than X amount of money. And I don't understand what's blocking me. Well, it's very, very hard to rise ahead. It's very hard to be at the frequency and the level of abundance that you want to attract when you're being weighed down by a festering wound that your nervous system, that the cells in your body are paying attention to because it's loud inside there, even if you don't fully realize it. So leaving that unexplored, not diving in, not having someone like myself help you go in there like a submarine and seek out this money noise that is absolutely blocking you from having the abundance and the stuff that you want in your life is going to cripple you at some point. There are 2 mind-blowing reasons why you still struggle with money. 1, your relationship with money is directly tied to your childhood and significant relationships in your life, past relationships and even current relationships. Number 2, your self-worth. Literally, your self-worth is a direct correlation to your net worth. Like, you can physically see this in people's bank accounts, mine as well, which I'm going to get into in the episode. So let's do some triage today on your money wounds and release what is blocking that next level abundance of yours. If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash making advice. Now let's get to it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big brain of yours, and all of your relationships while having a fuck ton of fun doing it all. There is far too much adulting that's required as an adult. And in my opinion, and shout out to all my male listeners, but we got to be honest, women have an extra stack of adulting. We just do. We have an extra stack of things that we have to do to be in the game of life. And I got to tell you, this past week, I was adulted out. I was over it. I reached my max capacity of adulting. I was done. And we got to know when that limit is. And the beautiful thing is our bodies don't lie. Even if we keep telling ourselves we have to keep going, or we have a lot of adrenaline surging because of stress, or even because of good stress, like excitement, man, my body was like, just has had it with me. I'm tired, but then I wasn't sleeping well, which of course, then I proceeded to buy God only knows what on Etsy and Amazon. And there's packages arriving today. So I'm very curious what those are. I always typically show these late night purchases of mine that I never remember on my Instagram stories at ProjectME with Tiffany if you are very curious about this kind of thing. So I'm not super energized today, but I show up regardless for you. And we don't have to be super energized or at our best in order to serve our people, in order to be effective at communicating, in order for people to want to gravitate to us, in order for us to make money, in order for us to shine, in order for us to have success. A problem that I see on repeat in the over 150,000 people that I have coached worldwide over all these years is and more so women have this belief than men, is that you have to be this like high vibe, super productive. I'm having a good hair day. My skin looks great. My brain is firing on all cylinders and I really do have my shit together. You've got to be like that most of the time in order to be successful. And it's such a setup because it's impossible for you to be like that all the time. I maybe have one of those days every 2 weeks if I'm lucky. And if I was always waiting for those days in order for me to get stuff done to really show up, there would be no ProjectME. There would be no TLC Enterprises. There would be no millions in the bank account. There would be no beach house. There would be no freedom lifestyle. There would not be any of this. So I want you to really take that in. And that is going with our first thing we're going to unpack here with repairing your money wounds. Is your relationship with money is directly tied to your childhood and significant relationships in your life. So I want you to answer this question for me. Who do you believe you need to be in order to have the lifestyle, have the freedom, have the wealth, have the success that you want? Because there's a disconnect in who you believe you are today and who you believe you need to be. And yes, this goes back really to childhood. It could be in the community you grew up in the country, the city, the state, the province, where you grew up and what you were surrounded with. You absorbed all those beliefs. It could come from the teachers, the school system you were in. Obviously, it comes from your household. Things that were said, things that weren't said, things that were implied. But let's start unpacking it with this. Who do you believe you need to be in order to have the success that you want to have? Because I know you're saying, I need to be more focused. I need to be more disciplined. I need to not be all over the place. I need to clone myself because there needs to be more of me because I need more time. Okay, well, time is not a human attribute. So let's take away the time part. Let's take away the money part. I'm talking about you specifically. And let's go further with that. Let's say I'm kind of channeling what I believe a lot of you are thinking. I would say more focused is what a lot of you are saying. More focused. I need to be better at following through. I need to be able to get more stuff done. So if you believe that you need to be more focused and better at following through and not procrastinating in order to have what you want, yet you know that you're a scattered person. Maybe you have ADHD. Maybe it really is hard for you to sit down and focus and do things all the time for whatever reason. So if you're saying, I can't have this money I want until I am this other version of myself, well, you've just put yourself in a pickle, didn't you? Because now you're saying, in order for me to have what's on the other side of this mountain, I've got to climb this steep mountaintop to get to the other side to get there. And it's also not true. But what you saw in childhood and what you absorbed and was reflected to you is like, oh, you want to be successful. You've got to work hard. You've got to get all A's. You've got to go to college. You've got to be like Uncle Johnny who does this, that, and the other. And not to say there wasn't some good messaging that went along with that and some truth. But when we are saying to ourselves, I need to be more of this or less of this, and I need to do more of this and less of this. Sure, there's some truth to it, but what you're also saying is, I can't have the abundance I want in any area of my life just as I am today. And now it's just a setup. So then why would you be motivated and to be focused and to do the things and not to procrastinate? Because you know that's not really who you are. So instead, I want you to ask yourself this question: how can I set myself up to get the stuff that I need to get done in order to best serve the financial success I want? What do I need to do in order to get the stuff done? Not who do I need to be. For us to be something other than ourselves, listen, I've changed some things about myself, like dramatically, but it took years and years of deep, heavy work and conscious effort daily to do that. It's not easy for someone to just change. It's better for us to work with what we got. I'm not an organized person. I'm not. I love my Virgo side of me loves being organized. I love when people organize things for me. I'm not. So my old belief was I have to be a really organized person with this beautiful desk and like filing cabinets and all this shit in order to be a successful entrepreneur. I really thought that. Well, guess what? I would have never really gone all in on that first business, and then ProjectME certainly wouldn't be here if I felt that I had to be organized. I had to be something other than what I am in order to get it. Well, why would I have the motivation to go for it? Why would I even gone for it? And I'm still not organized. And it's been over 15 years. My first business is an 8-figure business. ProjectME is a 7-figure business. And I share the behind the scenes of how unorganized I'm talking about. So it's not required. Instead, what I asked myself is, okay, yeah, I'm sure being organized is helpful in running a business and running a daily life. So how can I be organized to a point that helps me? Do I hire someone? What do I need to let go of in this organizational way? And really, how true is it? Because most of what we think we need to be in order to have what we want is bullshit. It feels true because it's stuff that we have absorbed and picked up and been carrying for so many years, but it's simply not true. So the focus thing, well, God, how could you possibly make millions of dollars and have a successful business and not be focused and be someone who procrastinates? You are listening to pure evidence of this person. So then you have to ask yourself, how can I work with my challenge that I have around focus and procrastination? How can I work with it so I can at least get the income generating activities done? Do I need to hire someone so I have accountability? Do I need to maybe like work in 15-minute increments and take a break? What is it I need to do? But don't tell yourself, I need to be something other than who I really am at core, or I need to remove these limiting behaviors and habits I have in order to be successful, because then it's not going to happen until those are removed. And the likelihood of those being removed at this stage in your life is very slim. You might be able to manage them better and reduce some of those patterns better, but you're likely not going to change that much when it comes to those things. So let's look at the second thing, your self-worth, right? Your self-worth is that direct correlation to your net worth. And if you had told me, or anyone had told me, I had a self-worth problem when I lost all of the money that I had once I had that 7 figures in the bank by the time I was 30, and it was almost all gone 3 months later. And if someone said, oh, this is rooted in a self-worth problem, I would have been like, I don't have a self-worth problem. I'm a very confident person. Like, I'm a shit show, but I'm like a confident person. And yeah, I have some insecurities, but everyone does. And I didn't think I had a self-worth problem. Meanwhile, I had no self-worth. And I've been always trying to think of like other terms and words I can use with that, because I do know that can really trigger a lot of resistance in people. But if you have a lack of trust in yourself, trusting your own self-judgment, trusting that you're making the right decision when you like hire me as a coach or join my ProjectME Posse business coaching membership, which, by the way, in my ProjectME Posse business coaching membership right now, we have a mega bonus spring sale going on where you get my content creation made easy course bundle, and that's worth $300, and you get that for free if you join today. So you can swipe up, that link's in the show notes. You get weekly live trainings from me and other special guest experts. I cap the posse at 250 members. This way you guys don't get lost. So this isn't some membership where there's 7,000 people in it and you don't have any accountability and you never get your questions answered. This is truly a group coaching membership style with an incredible member library of well over 200 videos of resources. This is designed for people who are either at zero, and I would say all the way up to generating $15,000 a month online for your business. You might already make a lot of money in other areas of your business, but if you're wanting to increase and get leads and get sales and make some serious coin online, I would say 0 to 15,000. But I have people in the posse who do make more than that. They just love that interaction of the group and the fact it's like an entrepreneur support group in there for all of our fun meltdown days. So you can get that by swiping up. You'll get the bonus automatically. You'll see everything, all the details, the student reviews on the page. Now, if you are someone who just keeps kicking that ball down the road, I'll do it later, I'll do it when, I'm going to figure it out, I just need to do more, I need to show up more for myself, I just need to be more consistent, and then I'll have this. I just need to be more motivated, and then I'll have this. I need to be more inspired, then I'll have this. You are in a major danger zone. You need to really consider applying for my 2-month private business coaching program. Now I only have 2 spots left for my spring session, and I don't always have a summer session, heads up. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But if you're wanting the holy grail, most exclusive way to work with me, and you're working with me one-on-one, and you want everything customized, or we will customize how you get clients coming to you on repeat that are excited and eager to buy from you. We will package all of your programs, your offers, your services, and we will repackage the ones that aren't selling together. We'll take a look at your branding, your profitable content strategy, so your content is selling for you around the clock, so you're not always having to do it. All of that is inside my 2-month private coaching program. Again, it's by application only, the most exclusive way to work with me. And that application link is also in the show notes, and it's in the link in bio on my Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany. So with that all being said, the self-worth stuff, here's how it can come up. You hear a way to work with me, or maybe it's like hiring an employee for your business or hiring a podcast producer or something like that. And you're going, well, I know that would really help me, but I don't have that money right now, or I'm not making enough money right now. So I'll do that, hire this person, sign up for this, do this thing once I have more money coming in. You're thinking crazy, because you hiring the person, doing the thing, if that's going to help you make the money, you need to do that even before you're making all the money. If you're putting yourself in your own holding pattern, in your own waiting pattern on your dreams, on the cash you want, on the lifestyle you want, this is deeply tied to your self-worth. And it's like, how is that tied to my self-worth? Because your most abundant version of you, your higher self that knows your success is inevitable, the higher self version of you who knows for sure this thing is going to work, the money is going to come in, what decision would that person make? What decision would the person with the version of you make where you knew this is for sure happening? Without a doubt, my success is inevitable. There is no way it's not going to happen. I 1,000% bet on myself and believe in myself. What would she do? What would he do? You would absolutely take the risk, but you have a very low risk tolerance because of the lack of belief in yourself, which is tied to your self-worth. On the other hand, I've also seen people do a lot of rash decision making where they're, oh my God, I should buy this. I need to do this. I need to get this credential. I need to get more. I need to add this beauty service to my business. I need to add this credential to my thing. Now I need to have a website. I can't start before a website. Now I need a special logo. Now I need this. Now I need that. That's also tied to self-worth because you're believing you need something even more before you're worthy or anyone would consider hiring you or getting your services. And yes, of course, there are clear exceptions. If you're doing permanent makeup on someone, yeah, you need to be trained on that. But that doesn't mean you have to be trained on lips, on areolas, on stretch marks, on lashes. You don't have to be trained on all the things. This does not mean that you can't start your business. I don't have any testimonials. I need more testimonials first. You don't need more testimonials first. You're your own testimonial. But because of the lack of belief in ourselves and betting on ourselves, we play small or we end up falling for fantasy marketing. And that is how I lost almost all that money that I had in 3 months. I fell for a financial investor that was doing fantasy marketing. I wasn't trusting my gut because what did I know? Who am I? I'm not great with money. And there you go. Do you see how that's tied to that belief? I'm not great with money. I've never had this kind of money before. This is someone who has all the credentials and training and stuff, so they know better than me. So I wasn't trusting my gut instinct that this seemed like a little weird and a little too good to be true. So I fell for the fantasy marketing. I lost almost all of that money. And it had to happen in order for me to really dig in and do this deep work because now look at what I do. Now I pay it forward and I include this in all of my programs, my podcasts, and all the things. So I want you to really take a look at that. Take out the word self-worth if it kind of makes you cringy. And go, where is my lack of belief in myself? Believing what I want to have, this business, this lifestyle, this level of cash, this luxury, whatever it is. Where is my belief off? What is really my gauge? So let's look at it like you have maybe like a meter from 0% to 100%. Take a look. Where's my true belief that this is really possible for me? And my current state, exactly who I am today and not being anyone different, being my messy, perfectly imperfect self. Yeah, I bet you're going, I literally heard in my head 50%, which means a lot of you said a number like that. There might have been some of you who said more. That's what I mean is that 50%. Now, you don't have to be at 100% in order to be successful, but that 50% is what is blocking the abundance. That's where the repair work needs to be done. If we do not focus on repairing that wound of it, I believe it's possible for me to make 6 figures, 7 figures. I believe it's possible to make more money than anyone ever has in the history of my family. I believe it is possible for me as a single mom in order to grow my business to this. I believe that it's possible for me at 60 years old to start a new business and do something that I genuinely love. I believe it is totally possible for me to serve and heal and help people, but also make a lot of money from it. And that's okay. You got to work on those beliefs Otherwise, why would you have the gumption? Why would you have the tenacity? Why would you have the energy? Why would you feel it's worth it to show up regardless if your belief is really wavering in yourself? And the problem is when your belief isn't, I would say it's got to be 90% plus we really want to work with here. And of course there's days where you're like, this isn't happening, I'm a piece of shit. Like, that's normal. But I'm saying on most days where you're like, no, I would bet on me. I recently had a friend say that to me. I was like, I don't know what we were talking about. But she's like, oh, I would bet on you any day. Like, meaning like I come in clutch. Like, I follow through. And I go, you're damn right. I said, I would bet on me too. Because I am going to show up for things that I commit to. And not in spite of myself, obviously, if I was really sick or something happened, but I would still show up. It just might not be at that exact moment. And I know that about myself. And that's where I can pull that belief from. And if you don't have it, why would anyone have the belief in you to show up? And when you have that belief in yourself, you know you're going to put the things that you learn, the tools, the resources, you're willing to do the work. And you're going to follow through and do it, or you're going to find someone or hire someone to help you follow through and do it. That's a very different energy. So ask yourself this question to unpack this further. What were the messages, the vibes, things that were even said, unsaid in my household growing up, or even in other significant relationships in my life around believing in yourself, around believing you can do it, around believing that, you have what it takes. Some of you were raised in abusive households by me. Some of you were raised with mixed messages from different family members. Some of you were raised by parents or people that had such low self-worth and lack of self-belief themselves that it innocently bled all over the family. Some of you come with generations of self-belief stuff. But I want you to see the root of where it comes from and know that you get to make a different choice. You get to make a choice right now today that, you know what, I am going to bet on myself. Otherwise, what happens is you guys become so dependent on things outside of yourself to validate you and where you can get your belief from. So then if you have, whether it's followers, comments, people buying your stuff, people giving you verbal affirmation in your family, people telling you, I think you can do it. And that's really dangerous because when you're going against the grain, when you're going to build a business, scale a business, make a lot of money, do something different, you're going to get a lot of people who say no. You're going to be tested. Your faith in yourself and your belief in yourself is going to be tested, and it can't be dependent on things outside of yourself. It's very dangerous because we all feel good when all the stuff's flowing and happening. That's easy. But what about when the chips are down? When the chips are down, I still believe in myself. That doesn't mean I'm not a little bit of a mess, but I believe in it. And I wasn't raised with that kind of messaging. I had a lot of mixed messaging, which causes a whole nother sort of brain confusion around money, around being worthy of making that money, around being worthy of what I want to have. But I want you to reclaim it for yourself today, that you're deciding to bet on yourself. You're acknowledging and unpacking the stuff that you picked up from the various people in your life, community, right, generational trauma, all of that stuff. So you can give yourself compassion and also intellectually see where it came from. And then I want you to detach from it because it's not yours. It was never yours. You absorbed it. You didn't want to necessarily absorb it, but you did, and it's not yours. You're like a sponge, right? You absorbed all of that. Let's visually squeeze the fuck out of that sponge and then be a full receiver of a new way of thinking, of a new way of calling in what you want. And that starts with betting on yourself and believing in yourself, because that's totally in your control. The other stuff isn't. And it really starts with there, and it is possible for you. It's possible for me. It's possible for you. And this is more for that evidence bank of yours. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you so much. I would love to know how you feel about this episode, what other topics you would love to have when it comes to money. So you can DM me on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany. Take a screenshot, share this episode, share it with a friend, and please write a 5-star review of the show. If you're a Spotify listener, just tap the 5 stars. It takes 2 seconds. Apple listener, you can also tap the 5 stars and it takes 2 seconds. But if you really want to give back to the show, it would be to write a written review. Leave your name or Instagram handle in the review so I can shout you out. And if you want me to give you something special for taking the time to writing the review, make sure you DM the screenshot of your review to me at ProjectME with Tiffany on Instagram. And I would love to treat you to something for saying thank you for taking that extra moment to share your love for the show, to help it grow. Because when we pay that forward and we're in that energy of abundance and appreciation, it also helps us create more abundance and appreciation within for ourselves. It just feels good, and it then increases that self-belief that you're going to bet on yourself because you also bet on other people. Love you guys so much. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.